This evening from Managua at Estadio Nacional de Fútbol de Nicaragua as Panama takes on Canada in Group B of qualifying play. Happy to have you with us once again for this first of its kind edition of the U17 qualifiers in this modern era. A look at the conditions. It is hot out there, 94 degrees Fahrenheit. It is breezy, but you see that temperature at 94. You could expect to have a cooling break at points in this match. But Canada and Panama come into this after two very different opening matches. You've got Puerto Rico that won by a 6-1 scoreline over Panama, and Canada that won by a 5-0 scoreline over Nicaragua as the top two teams in this group. Puerto Rico has the slight edge on tiebreaker right now over Canada because of the extra goal they scored, despite both having a +5 goal differential, but still plenty of football to be played here in this qualifying phase. Referees and players are in the tunnel, just about set to take the field. It's match day 2 for both of these teams. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of what these two teams need result-wise as we go further into the day, but first you'll have Anthems lineups, and we'll be back momentarily with kick.
Damas y caballeros, para este partido de la ronda final del clasificatorio femenino sub-17 de Concacaf 2025, demos la bienvenida a las selecciones nacionales de Panamá y Canadá. Todos de pie para el himno nacional de Panamá.
sense the passion in the anthems for both of these nations, especially for Canada, because this is a bit of a revenge tour for this Canadian side. Last year they fell just short in last year's Concacaf Women's Under-17 Championship. They lost in the semifinal to Mexico, which meant no World Cup qualification last year for Canada. This is their redemption tour, and they started it off strong with that 5-0 victory over Nicaragua. For Panama, they're hoping to bounce back after what was a 6-1 loss to Puerto Rico. As we take a look at the starting 11 for this Panamanian side, the one goal that was scored, not accounted for in this lineup. It was an own goal against Puerto Rico in the match, but they'll rely on their goalkeeper, Nicolette Mas, who might be under a lot of pressure here in this one. Alison Onodera, dangerous player, the number 10, wearing the captain's armband, and so is Kelly Zapata on the opposite wing as well for the head coach, Raisa Gutierrez. Captains meeting for the coin toss, Chloe Taylor of Canada, Alison Onodera of Panama, Priscilla Perez, the match official from Mexico, Alex Billiter, the fourth official, Mihensa Wrench and Jennifer Garner are your assistant referees. This is again a first of its kind U17 qualifier in this format. 3 groups of 4 teams, the 3 group winners plus the best second place team. All 4 of those teams will qualify for the World Cup. This is not like years past, where we're feeding into a U17 championship and then qualifying from there. So it's all about this qualifier, and this Canadian starting 11 looks to keep up its success. Emma Donnelly, Kaylee Hunter, Melissa Kekic, and Lacey Kindle, all in the 11 again, all scored in the opening match for head coach Gary Moody. On the bench, Olivia Chisholm found a goal as well. A win in this game would not give Canada qualification to the World Cup. It would not in any way clinch the group, but it would put them in a position against Puerto Rico on the final match day, should things go to form, where it could be a winner-take-all, and of course goal differential is such a big part of this. Going into that final match day, you want to be the team with the better goal differential, so a tie would put you through. Narrowly missed out on World Cup qualification last year. Now the U17 World Cup shifting to an annual cycle, which is why this is just simply a qualifier now every year and not a U17 championship. It's allowed for 2 more CONCACAF teams to head to the World Cup. It's this fall, coming up later this year in Morocco. It starts October 17th. That's the goal, being there. Canada certainly feel poised to make it. Panama trying to break into that upper tier of teams. It's Panama left to right in the red, Canada right to left in the white, and we are underway on a hot evening in Nicaragua. Now this World Cup coming up this fall expanded from 16 teams up to 24. It allowed 2 extra spots for CONCACAF. In previous iterations of the World Cup cycle, you would have the World Cup in the even-numbered year and a CONCACAF Under-17 championship in the odd-numbered year. Had to do away with that now with the annual World Cup model. And the thought behind it is just to give a lot of these young players at this formative age an opportunity to compete in a World Cup. Too often was it happening where players would fall through the cracks and just not get a chance simply because of the bad luck, if you look at it through this prism, of when they were born. For example, a player who might have been just on the younger side at 16 last year in the 2024 World Cup might not have been ready to play in a U17 World Cup at the age of 16. Well, by the time the next World Cup came back 2 years later, they were aged out and 18 years of age. A lot happens development-wise for these young players in this 16, 17, 18 age range. So players were being penalized essentially by being born, if you will, in an odd-numbered year instead of an even-numbered year, in case they weren't quite ready at 16 to make a World Cup, and then by the time the next one came around, they were 18. So a tip of the cap to FIFA for seeing that and identifying that as a problem and correcting it by shifting to the annual model. Now so many of these faces have an opportunity once again to get to a World Cup this year. Canada's a prime example. Think of Canada last year when they finished into the semifinal, losing in extra time to Mexico. So many of the 16-year-olds on that team that were maybe on the bench and didn't see playing time, now they're the stars of this Canadian side. In the previous model, in the 2-year cycle, they would have fallen through the cracks. They would have stopped getting the looks at the U17 level because they would have turned the page to a new group of players, because those 16-year-olds would be 18 by the next World Cup. And now some of that talent leading Canada to a 5-0 win last time out. Looking to build on it here. Expectation is they'll have a lot of control in the attacking half. Gary Moody's side. Donnelly gets there. Plays it back inside for Emma Rita. Looking in behind. Knocked away by Carla Ovalle. And cleared by Panama. This is the last of the 3 groups to have its second match day. Groups A and C already had it over the last couple of days. United States leading its group over El Salvador, 6 points to 4 points. Honduras with 1 point, still clinging hope to a possible second place finish. Over in Group A, it's Mexico in first at the moment. They're a full 3 points better than Costa Rica and Haiti. So all Mexico will need on the final match day is a draw. So things are starting to take shape here in the Concacaf U17 qualifiers as Anaisa Gutierrez looks on. Good sustained pressure for Canada. Kay centering. Kaylee Hunter was lurking. 7 of the starters here today for Canada play for the same Ontario-based club. 3 of the starters for Vancouver Rise Academy. The only oddball out, if you will, is Kaylee Hunter. Does not fall into either of those 2 clubs that are predominantly comprising this Canadian roster. So a lot of chemistry through the ranks here for Canada, even as they just convene for a short camp before these qualifiers. Mas with ball in hand was very busy in the last match, that 6-1 loss to Puerto Rico. Looking at the under-17 rankings, Canada ranked 3rd, Puerto Rico ranked 4th. So the table is set for those 2 in all likelihood to play for that first place spot on the final match day. It's unless Panama can play spoiler here and make things a bit more difficult for Canada. Gary Mooney hoping to avoid slipping on that banana peel. And behind, it's Kelly Hunter. To the end line, carried by Maya Angus, and cleared by Panama. Playing through the middle, Canada. A lot of traffic in there, a lot of red jerseys just densely packed in behind the ball. Very patient, this Canadian side. Anybody who's had a chance to watch them at any level, U15, U17, U20, they have that same style, Canada. They will go east and west in this umbrella shape until they pick their moment to be incisive. Top to bottom, this is their style and it's been effective. Deflected by Yoswani Santos. Might have troubled Nicolette Moss at the back post. Back to Canada. To the end line. And the first corner coming for Canada. Lacey Kindle stands over it. Kindle, good service for Kindle. The header from Hunter. Out for a goal kick. Not a bad effort. The first set piece of the evening for Canada.
Estamos saliendo lento.
Played in behind. Canada on the right wing. Centered just before Molly Hale could get there. Cut out by Panama. Given away. Not really an opportunity, though, for Panama to break. Everybody back behind the ball. So the lone striker up top, and Yacelis Magayon, had to just sit and wait. 10 minutes in, still scoreless between Panama and Canada. That is Alison Onodera, the captain for this Panamanian side, down at the moment. See if we can discern what happened. Now, Onodera just went down on her own, it looks like. Difficult to see. In the first phase of qualifying, to get to this final phase, Panama had to come through a group that included Cuba, Guyana, and Turks and Caicos. And Onodera was one of the stars for Panama. Had a pair of goals in their win over Turks and Caicos. Was always creating for her teammates. And then scored twice in the decisive win over Cuba. Canada did not have to come through that opening round. They were deposited right into this final round along with Mexico and the United States. That first qualifying phase took place back at the end of January. Onodera on the run, looks to be okay, and gets the first shot on target of the match on Olivia Busby. So for all the control that Canada's had, 12 minutes in, the first and only so far shot on target belongs to Panama.
Dale, dale, ganate. Buena ahora, buena ahora. Kelly, pero cola. Kelly, cola, pelota para ti. Por dentro, Kelly. Con la intención, Carla. Analía, con la intención. Dale, tú estás viendo un poco. Atenta por dentro. Yo, Johnny, por dentro. Yo, Johnny. Sale ella por dentro.
Given away at the back, Nicolette Moss just misplayed it. Canada could not capitalize. Maya Angus. Sent long in behind. Kelly Hunter. Took a deflection and out for another corner. Played from the corner. Falls in the box and cleared by Panama decisively. Paying for it defensively, though, as she's helped back to her feet. Carla Ovalle. Job well done, though. Quarter of an hour gone. And Canada still looking for that opener. Expectation again coming in on paper is that Canada would take care of business here. 5-0 win in their opener. Panama fell 6-1 against Puerto Rico. Canada, the third-ranked team at the U17 level. No stranger to qualifying for U17 World Cups, even though they just missed out last year. Almost giving away off the goal kick. Nice touch to the end line by Hunter, almost got there. Keeper has it. First yellow card of the match goes to Canada. Foul in transition, free kick for Panama. Again, it's Onodera at the center of it all against her opposing captain, Chloe Taylor. So much for the handshakes they just enjoyed a few minutes ago at the coin toss.
Analía, Isabela, dale, hay que buscar a Analía.
Launched in from the free kick, loose in front. Oh, there was a moment there for Panama to perhaps stun Canada and strike first. Try from distance, blocked down. Here's Tora Betteridge. Switching the point of the attack. Down the left side for Maya Angus. Back for Hunter. Kelly Hunter. Had it knocked away. Onodetto wins it cleanly. Oh no, very late whistle from the referee. And you can understand why Panama's upset. Onodetto had come through, gotten it, and almost made it out to midfield before finally the referee decided to blow the whistle. Quickly taken by Canada. And ends up just missing. Not a bad effort from Chloe Taylor. Struck quickly before Panama could react. 20 minutes in, scoreless draw, still the score. Play-ons as a referee. Very high threshold, it seems, so far for what is and what isn't a foul. Letting them play, Priscilla Perez. Angus.
Dale, toca, apóyate. Dale, Alito, calma. Ya, tranquila, ahí está bien, tranquila. ¡Oh, la larga! ¡Una!
Player down back on this near sideline. Referee hasn't picked it up yet. like we'll have the stoppage. The player down being Celis Magallon.
¡Vamos! ¿Cómo es posible que tu compañera está adelante y tú estás allá? Hay que entrar.
Tending to that right leg of Magallon. Canada still through 23 minutes. Haven't had any really, truly dangerous scoring opportunities. Panama's done a really good job of compacting the middle and making life difficult. 3 shots for Canada, but the only shot on target belongs to Panama. Panamanian side again that lost 6-1 in its opener. Canada won 5-0 in the opener. See if that break in the action able to spark things in the attack for Canada. They all came over to have a word with Gary Moody, the head coach.
Ahí, tranquila.
Played wide to Angus. Hale to Angus. Flag did stay down. Angus end line. And it is given as a corner for Canada. Whipped in from the corner, the header, loose in front, gathered by Mas. Oh, and she might have been kicked in the face. Card is yellow. No ill will or intent there from Maya Angus, but still careless and a yellow. Seems to be all right, fortunately. Ooh, good contact made by Angus. No case of the goalkeeper acting fortunate that she's able to get away from that seemingly all right as she was popped up and smiling. You can see right away Angus knew exactly what she did, very apologetic. No doubt a yellow. It seemed like Nicolette Mas wanted to get up right away, but the trainers had her lie back down. on a 94-degree day. These two injuries that we've seen over the last couple of minutes have almost served to give these teams a double cooling break. In the meantime, at the point of the half where you typically see these cooling breaks, so gives them a chance to refuel. Nicolette Moss seems to be all right, thankfully. Angus joins the captain, Chloe Taylor, in the book. Bouncing ball into the area. Some contact there. The ball does stay in play. And in behind, looking for Onodera. Falls nicely for Magallon, and the save made again by Olivia Busby. So for all the control Canada has had, 3 shots, none on target. Panama, 2 shots, 2 on target. Had the better of the scoring chances through nearly a half an hour. Now Canada trying to finally break through, but the offside flag comes up on Hunter. Onodera going at it alone. Onodera into space. Still Onodera pushing her way past Betteridge. Head out for a corner. Well won again by Onodera, who has seemed so far through half an hour to be the best player on the field on this day, making all the difference for Panama. And from the corner, a header off target.
La tercera vez la vencida. Calma, nada más camina un poquito, amplía los pasos para que llegue más rápido, amplía los pasos, camina suave. Amplía los pasos, más largo y tranquila.
Now we get the official cooling break in this half. Those last 2 opportunities came during injuries, not official cooling breaks. So one last opportunity for these players to go over, have a word with their coaches, cool off a bit on this 94-degree day before we head into the home stretch of this first half. tough to say what the fix is here for Canada. They're very committed to their style, and it has worked well for them. But at some point, you have to try to find a way through. Very committed to going side to side, but the way you can see left side of your screen, Panama has 5 players back at all times. There's no real room to move. Can they unlock them from distance now? Cross into the area, flag stays down. Now floated in, but out of play. Every time they get close, look at your picture right now. There's 6 red Panamanian jerseys for 3 white Canadian jerseys. The numerical advantages they have in their own box are staggering. That is sort of the nature of a matchup like this, where in terms of the quality and the overall depth, Canada on paper the better side. I think Panama might also admit that to you, but this game isn't a matter sometimes of quality. It's a matter of execution. It's a matter of togetherness, especially in international football. You see it at all levels. Let's take a look at Panama at the senior men's level recently in their effort to beat the United States in Nations League. More on that in a second. Save made by Nicolette Mas. And just cleared out for a corner. But look at Panama, for example, on their men's side at the senior level, beating the United States the way they did in Nations League, almost using that same blueprint to beat Mexico in the final. In matches where they had a clear disadvantage, maybe in quality, they made up for it in togetherness, in cohesion, in sacrifice, in getting to all the loose balls, in making sure they kept their defensive assignments and needed just that one counter, which we've seen, where Panama has 2 shots on target already. Loose in front, and just like that, Canada strikes on a set piece. Melissa Kekic finally gives them a breakthrough on what is their first shot on target. Just so much traffic around the goalkeeper. Well done. Great service. And the rest done by Kekic for her second goal of qualifying.
¡Dale, Telma! ¡Dale, Telma! ¡Ordenamos!
Played over the top again toward Hunter. Angus wins it. Angus centers, just it down, flag stayed down, and it just goes wide. Free kick coming out for Panama. Kelly Hunter, nowhere to go. Angus, closing moments of this first half, 5 to play. Canada only has that one opportunity on the corner, but it was enough to change the scoreline, even though Panama were the side that broke through a couple more times with a couple of shots on target on the counters, executing their game plan of perfection to that point up until the corner. Well, that's the danger you risk of sitting back so much. All it takes is one from the opponent. Even if it's more quantity over quality in the opportunities you're giving, sometimes the sheer quantity just bursts the pipes in the end.
What do you mean, what's on?
Looking in behind for Onodera. As it stands, Canada moves to 6 points. They would top the group. Still Puerto Rico and Nicaragua to play later. There is no mathematical way that Canada can clinch first place today, though they could come very close to it, put themselves in a position to need only a draw on the final match day against Puerto Rico. And keep in mind, the 3 group winners make the World Cup, as does the best second place team. Should Canada win this and get to 6 points, even if they were to lose to Puerto Rico, the sheer fact of getting to 6 points puts them in a very good position to be that highest ranked second place team. The way things stand, it is currently 4 points from El Salvador. That's in that highest ranked second place spot, but El Salvador has to play the U.S. on its final match day. Expectation would be for a United States victory there, and possibly a heavy victory as well. That would harm El Salvador's goal differential, at least again from what we've seen so far and historically. So there's a fair guess to be made there. And El Salvador stays on 4 points. Costa Rica is currently the 3rd of the second place teams. They're on 3 points through 2 matches, so the best they can do is 6. Their goal differential is only +4. So all that's to say, should Canada win this matchup, even if they don't end up winning the group on the final match day against a very solid Puerto Rico side that is ranked 4th, Canada ranked 3rd, Canada should still get through, it seems, with a win today as the second place team. That finds passageway. Not a guarantee, but you'd really like their chances with a win here by any scoreline. Whether it's 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-1, 5-4, Canada, doesn't matter. Played through, deflected, almost an own goal. Still loose in front. It barrels in. There is a whistle, and it's a foul against Hunter. It was an awkward play there. Hunter's trying to claim that the goalkeeper, Nicolette Mas, never had control of the ball, and she was within her rights to make a play for it. Let's see. That's a tough argument from Hunter. It looked like Nicolette Mas had her hands on top of the ball, pinning it to the ground. We got a good look at it here. Could have also been a foul in there. You can see Hunter almost accidentally stepping on the arm of the keeper. Expectation is for 5 minutes of stoppage time. Had a couple of injuries and a cooling break in this half. From the corner, wide. Offside flag comes up on Canada. There's a 5 minutes of stoppage time confirmed. Panama should, at the moment, should stay 1-0, head into the locker room with their heads held up high. They've executed their game plan perfectly defensively. It's one well-taken corner from Canada, the difference. And on the flip side, Panama have had those moments going forward. They've been dangerous, they've been threatening. On the counter, 2 shots on target. Another free kick that ended up just beyond the reach of the striker, Onodera. So they found their moments on the counter, a lot to be positive about, but a chance to go up 2 now. Hunter in behind, flag stays down. Great tackle put in to win it. Still loose though in front now. Panama looking to clear, and they do get it clear. Free kick for Canada. Standing over it, Reese Kay. Even from this distance, Kay almost, body language, seems poised to strike this. Kay does strike it, deflected through, loose in front, and put wide. Almost a very fortuitous bounce for Canada and Kaylee Hunter, but she puts it wide. Here's Maya Angus again, end line. In behind, flag stays down. Maybe one last chance for Canada in this half. Runs out of room. On the turn, blocked by Panama, still loose here for Emma Rita. And there's a whistle to end the first half. Canada up 1-0 on Panama here in Group B of the 2025 Concacaf Women's Under-17 World Cup Qualifiers.
Finaliza primer tiempo. Un marcador de Panamá 0, Canadá 1.
Players have returned to the field, set to begin half number 2. Canada up 1-0 on Panama here in Group B play in the 2025 Concacaf Women's Under-17 World Cup qualifiers. 4 teams will go on from Concacaf into the World Cup later this year in Morocco. It's the 3 group winners here in this qualifying phase, plus the highest ranked second place team. Panama need a result here to stay alive. With the loss, they would just about mathematically be eliminated from competition here. I'm sorry, as a matter of fact, because of El Salvador's 4-point tally with their win yesterday against Trinidad and Tobago, forgot to update that. A loss would officially eliminate Panama, my mistake. So they do need to at least salvage a point here, Panama. Canada cannot clinch officially with a win, but put themselves right on the doorstep should they have anything go their way on the final match day, even just 1 point. So that's all that's to play for in this second 45 now underway. Canada left to right in the white, Panama right to left in the red. Panama must produce at least a point in order to stay mathematically alive in the race for at least a second place berth into the World Cup. Canada with a win would just need 1 more point to go their way, be that an El Salvador loss against the United States, Costa Rica dropping points in their final match, or Canada just coming up with a draw against Puerto Rico. So that's all that's at stake in this second half. Virtual certain qualification for Canada, potential elimination for Panama. Lone goal was scored by Melissa Kekic. 2 yellows to remember. Chloe Taylor and Maya Angus, both for Canada. Shadows have now engulfed the field. Give these players a bit of a respite on this hot day. Loose in the area here. Canada the first to it, keeping it alive. Contact there, but won cleanly by Panama on what was a 94-degree day at kickoff. Very breezy, but now with the field in the shadows, the players might have a little bit more wind in their sails. The last remaining bit of sun is just streaming in the eyes of the coaches right now, and Gary Moody fights through the sun to see another offside against Canada. Panama have done a good job of playing this high line and making life difficult for this Canadian side. One thing that was very evident in that first half, total possession control for Canada, 76%. Panama's only opportunities came on the counter. Looking in behind on the long ball. Flag comes up again. Another well-timed step from that back line of Panama. Panama looking through. Flag stays down. Onodera trying to force her way in. Here's Kindle. Player down for Panama. Played through. Space to run onto for Kelly Hunter. And a corner for Canada. That's how they scored their opening goal. From the corner, driven in, again dangerously driven in. Somehow stayed out, not sure if it hit the post. Nicolette Moss might have gotten a piece of it. The ball just sort of deaded right at the goal line. Another terrific delivery. Try from distance here, off the bar, it stayed out. Loose in front, the header off the bar again. And the offside flag comes up as well. What a strike that was by Donnelly. Goalkeeper down. Made a valiant effort to try and stop that one. Crossbar helped her out. Looking like more of the same from the first half so far in this second. Total control from this Canadian side.
Anda,
And over the top, the glancing header just wide. Just feels like that pressure is mounting. For another goal brewing now for Canada. Just a matter of reining things in and tiptoeing that offside line. Looking in behind again, a glance over at the flag, and surprise, surprise, up again. I mentioned it in the first half, though I mentioned it right before Canada scored, so apologies for jinxing Panama, but in some of these matches, you see it at every level. As long as you are strict to your defensive principles, you can linger in a game like this, and all it takes is one counter. Panama exhibiting that right now. Trying to find those spaces in behind Canada. Because of that line, it almost seems like they're hesitant. They don't want to be caught offside again. Panama counter. Again in behind, and again the flag comes up. At this point, this is a clinic from Panama in how to execute the offside trap, and you see the head coach there, Gary Moody of Canada, just with his hand over his mouth in a perplexed position, wondering what it'll take. Carried by Hunter. End line, Hunter centers a great ball put in front, still loose now, and knocked home by Canada. The pressure finally mounts here at the hour mark, and Canada has a second on the efforts of Emma Reda. It's another instance where Kelly Hunter has just done terrific work. Winning down the sideline, putting a dangerous ball in that was nearly an own goal, and amid the chaos, it's Reda who's able to knock it home.
Gol de la selección de Canadá. Anota con el número 15, Emma Reda, minuto 60.
Now they can breathe a bit easier. Up by 2, can they tack on a third? As it stands, Canada in first in the group on 6 points, though Puerto Rico have not played their second match yet. It's following this one here on this field in Nicaragua this evening. Both sides came in with a +5 goal differential, though Puerto Rico had the tiebreaker for 6 goals scored versus Canada's 5 goals scored. Puerto Rico beat this Panama side 6-1. They were really aided by a first-minute goal. It forced Panama to open up a bit earlier, whereas Canada didn't score until later in that first half on the corner and allowed Panama to sit back. Also situationally, Panama knew they needed just a tie tonight to stay alive for that potential second place path through to the World Cup. So they've been even more compact defensively. So situations have dictated more difficult circumstances for Canada this evening, as opposed to what was a 4-0 first half lead. Pardon me, 4-1 first half lead for Puerto Rico against Panama in the last match. Trainer called out here. Yoswani Santos going down in quite a bit of pain. Santos has made a couple of big sacrificial plays defensively. We're going to see our first couple of changes now. On the Panamanian side, you wonder if that'll be all for Santos. First change, we'll see Shade Mo come on. There's a goal-scoring punch off the bench. Back in the opening round of qualifying back at the end of January. She'll replace Kelly Zapata. Giselle Marquez now enters as well. Replacing Thelma Machado. And some changes now coming for Canada. Trio on the way. We'll see Eilish Hennessy enter, number 16. Maya Angus will depart. Also, Alyssa McLeod, number 11, gracing your screen, and Bridget Matipula, third of the three subs. After the injury in the subs, get back to the action now. Canada up 2, and while it's only a 2-goal lead, it's starting to feel insurmountable, just based on the structure of this game and the situation. Nice touch into space here for Onodera. And this, though, is why I tend to think it might be out of reach, even though it's only 2-0. Panama's chances have come on the counter, and they've been under immense pressure. Almost 80% of the possession going Canada's way. It's tough to come back in a match when that's the case. You're forced to open up at some point, and that can lead to more chances for the opposing team. Here goes Canada again. Wide, finding McLeod, offside again. Another good call by the assistant referee as well. That's Magenta Wrench down this near sideline. She's been very active here in this second half. Canada, time and time again, tiptoeing that line, mostly crossing that line. Matipula. Just 20 minutes to play for Canada now at this point. As difficult as it's been to play through Panama, it behooves them to tack on a couple more if they can and not just be content with a 2-0 victory. As it stands, Canada 7 goals scored, no goals allowed, a +7 goal differential as Gabby Estadio comes on and will replace Kaylee Hunter, who had a very good shift. But Canada with that +7 goal differential, it's only 2 better than Puerto Rico, who are +5. So should Puerto Rico then go on to beat Nicaragua by at least 3 goals in the next match, or pardon me, just 2 goals, because the tiebreaker would be there for them in terms of goals scored. If this Canada score holds, all Puerto Rico would have to do is beat Nicaragua by 2 goals in the next match, and that would be enough to tilt the tie on the final match day in Puerto Rico's favor. On the final match day, it'll be Canada against Puerto Rico. That's coming up on April the 6th, 3 days from now. You always, on that final match day, want to be in a position where a tie gets you through. These qualification matchups are always structured that way, so the 2 highest teams in the group meet on the final match day. Sets the stage for what you expect to be the decisive match. You always want to have the tie go in your favor. A 2-0 win here might not be enough to have Canada have that tiebreaker go in their favor. However, a win for Canada and getting to 6 points puts them right on the doorstep of, at the very least, qualifying for the World Cup as the highest-ranked second-place team in this qualification phase. It'll be very difficult to find a mathematical path to them not getting through in that manner at least. So they should still be fine, but why leave it to chance if they could find a couple more goals of their own here, as they are searching once again. And at the end of the day, there is no difference whether you get through as the group winners or as the highest ranked second place team. You don't all of a sudden get into an easier pot in the World Cup draw or anything of the sort. Maybe if we were still in the old times of having a Concacaf U17 championship, maybe you'd have a different and easier path to a final by being the group winner instead of the number 2 seed. But in these instances now that we'll see every year with these U17 qualifiers for the annual World Cup cycle, the name of the game is simply getting through. And Canada with a win would be all but guaranteed to go through. They'd be the highest ranked second place team, assuming Puerto Rico wins by 2 or more against Nicaragua later, and based on what we've seen so far, that would be the expectation. And even if that does come to fruition, Canada being on 6 points would have them 2 better than El Salvador, 3 better than Costa Rica, and those teams have difficult final matchups. Costa Rica having to take on, or pardon me, the United States taking on El Salvador. So El Salvador you'd expect to drop points, so Canada, all told, with just a win, should still be in good position to make it to the World Cup, just as a second place team instead of as the group winners. Poppy Wakefield will enter and will replace Onodera, who's been terrific here in this one. Of all the players across all the teams, between the January portion, that opening window of qualifying, and now this final round of qualifying, it is Alison Onodera's stock who might be pointed the most upward. The number 10 for Panama, the captain for Panama. Pulled wide on the shot by Canada. Don't forget, coming up later this evening, right here in Nicaragua, it'll be the host of this group, Nicaragua, taking on Puerto Rico as we head into our official second half cooling break. The lone goal of this second half scored by Emma Reda. It's given Canada this 2-0 lead. Canada will take on Puerto Rico on the final match day. It'll likely be the decisive match here in the group. Could be a decent chance that it's a tie that would favor Puerto Rico on the day. Be a good test for both nations as they go up against each other. And it'll be a rematch of what was the third place match back in 2022 between Canada and Puerto Rico, a 3-0 win for Canada. Taking a look ahead to the World Cup. While we have a moment here during the cooling break, Canada hopes to be there. They narrowly missed out last year. Again, last year only a 16-team U17 Women's World Cup and 2 Concacaf entries. This time around, 4 Concacaf entries and a 24-team World Cup. Begins on October 17th. Teams that are already qualified include China, Japan, North Korea, South Korea, and the host nation, Morocco. Still 4 more teams to come from Africa. 4 more teams to come from South America as they begin their qualifying. The 2 Oceania representatives are New Zealand and Samoa. And the 5 European teams still need to be placed as well. Among the teams already qualified, North Korea, the reigning champions of 2024, have won it 3 times in 08, 16, and 24. South Korea, the champions of 2010, Japan, the champions of 2014. So a already loaded field with former champions. That still has a long way to go in being filled out. Dozen minutes remain, plus stoppage time here. Out of the cooling break, Panama looking for something, but a goal kick. Down the left wing for Canada. And a free kick on the way. Still important if they can find any more goal scoring here. Give them a decisive win and help out their goal differential relative to Puerto Rico. Free kick whipped in. Open header was there, but not enough on it. It was the substitute, Gabby Estadio, who had the chance. All the way back to the keeper. Olivia Busby hasn't had anything to do in this second half. Just 2 saves made in the first. Numbers here for Canada. 3v2, heavy touch though, and Nicolette Mas comes out to gather. Lasted long by Mas. Rendino puts her foot through it. Canada wins it back again. Weaving through, chance at a third goal here. Just wrong side of the post on that one for Molly Hale. Taken away by Canada right off that goal kick. Looking for more. This really took on a different tone this game after that second Canadian goal, just given Panama's playing style. It was always going to be a bridge too far once that second goal went in. Give it away again. Canada in transition. Save made by Mas. A lot of contact there. Free kick on the way for Canada.
Tarjeta amarilla para la selección nacional de Panamá.
Long way away on this free kick. And it's sent on goal, bouncing, saved by Mas. Might have been going wide anyway. She wasn't taking that chance. Five to play. Goals in the 35th and 60th minutes, the difference right now.
carpeta. No está ahí mismo en el lugar.
Goes against Canada with 4 to play. As much as I've harped on the notion of wanting to have the goal differential in your favor so that a tie on the final day can go your way, I think Canada also knows, and maybe it's the reason why they have not been full throttle here over the last stretch of play. I think they well know mathematically that with 6 points and the way the rest of the schedule shapes up, it's highly unlikely that 6 points would already not be enough to qualify. So you have that on the one hand, and on the other hand, while I say, you like to have that goal differential in your favor for a tie on the final match day favoring you, they probably look at it as, we're just going to beat Puerto Rico, and the goal differential and the tie won't matter because we're going to walk out of here with 9 points. So you can account for all these contingencies and like to have the goal differential on your side, but in the grand scheme of things, that might be their approach here, knowing that they're probably at least through via the second place path, even though that's not clinched yet, and that they can just control their destiny by beating Puerto Rico, who they are higher ranked than. Doesn't mean they're going to take care of business, but Canada ranked 3rd, Puerto Rico ranked 4th. So the expectation is for Canada to come through. You can only glean so much from how teams fare against common opponents. This Panama team lost 6-1 to Puerto Rico. Just because Puerto Rico poured in 6 goals doesn't mean they're 4 goals better per se than this Canadian side. That game had a very different tone setter. Puerto Rico found a goal a minute in that forced Panama to open up a little bit. Panama looked at that game as maybe a more comparable skill level where they can be more open instead of being as compact as they've been against Canada. And that led to a more open game, and Puerto Rico had a 4-1 lead just 25 minutes in. This game has been different. It's been tense and tight for Panama because they've also situationally come into this game knowing that a tie would be good for them. A tie would have given Panama an opportunity to maybe, with a win on the last match day against Nicaragua, get through as the highest ranked second place team. Not a given, but a possibility. So they were probably approaching this game, Panama, hoping for a tie against Canada. So different situations, different psychologies of matches. It's been more difficult tonight for Canada than it was Puerto Rico, so you can't just look at this and say, well, Canada wins 2-0, or whatever the final score turns out to be. Puerto Rico won 6-1 against Panama, so by the transitive property, Puerto Rico better than Canada. That's not how it works. Styles make fights, and stylistically and situationally, we've had what we've had tonight, which is Canada dominating possession around the tune of 75-80%. Panama just trying to hold on. To the end line. Play on, says the referee. 4 minutes of stoppage time tacked on. Free kick on the way. Standing over it, Eilish Hennessy. Floated in, and just wide. Halfway through stoppage time. To the end line. One last effort maybe for Canada. Thought it was going to be a corner. They were ready to take it, but out for a goal kick, and that might just about bring us to the end. Once Panama gets this back into play. Playing behind, maybe a chance for Panama to get one here. For a corner. And they actually negate that corner here with a late offside flag. And there is the whistle to end this one. A 2-0 win for Canada. As it stands, puts them atop Group B here in 2025 Concacaf Women's Under-17 World Cup qualifiers. Panama officially mathematically eliminated, but they fought valiantly today. And still to come, it'll be Nicaragua and Puerto Rico. Canada will be ardently rooting for Nicaragua if they want to inch closer to already seizing a spot here tonight in October's World Cup in Morocco. But your final here this evening, Canada 2, Panama nothing. I'll look back at the highlights from Canada's 2-0 victory. Very, very well done all around by Canada in this win over Panama. They never really felt tested. There were a couple of early moments on counterattacks and set pieces like this where Panama came close to half chances, but ultimately it would be too much for them to handle. This Canadian control of this matchup, just wave after wave of attack and dominant in the possession. It was no match for this Panamanian side, and just a couple of moments here early again on these counters where they just amounted to half chances and then nothing more. Did not have a single shot, Panama, in the second half. It was just these chances in the first half that could have set the tone, could have put them up 1-0, but they did not take those chances while they were there. And ultimately, Canada would take their chances on a corner at the other end. And that would give them that 1-0 lead into halftime. This is where the worm really turned and they started to find more of their chances. That was their first shot on target of the match. A shot on target would lead to a corner, and it was from a corner where they would ultimately take their lead. Great ball played in, and the header at the doorstep. Therefore, Melissa Kekic, her second goal in as many games, found a soft spot amid a sea of red jerseys and did the rest. And in the back of the net, burying it. That came in the 35th minute, right after the cooling break. They would carry that lead into halftime, Canada. Up 1-0. 76% of the possession went their way in the first half. Total control. Had another opportunity here right before halftime to tack on two of them, as a matter of fact. This one that just went wide, and then another that would come rapidly after that. But then the halftime whistle would come, but nothing would change in the second half. It continued to be all Canadian control. It was just a matter of when, not if, that insurance goal would come. And the question was more how many. The answer to that would just be the one, as they take it 2-0. But there could have been more. And it finally did come here through the efforts of Kaylee Hunter, centering it, almost an own goal. Great save by Nicolette Maas, and then blasted in after the loose ball was found by Emma Reda. Clearance efforted by Analia Arosamena of Panama, but right into the path then of Emma Reda. And that would make it 2-0, as it would stay for the rest of the match. Canada maybe could have tried to tack on more, help their goal differential. But in their minds, maybe just looking at it as, we don't need the goal differential. We're just going to go out there and take care of business against Puerto Rico on the final match day. That is, of course, if Puerto Rico holds serve tonight, as many may expect against Nicaragua, though the host nation could play spoiler this evening by even taking just 1 point. Canada continued more of their attacks. Nothing, though, ultimately would fall. This was a great individual effort that just went wide of the post on the effort from Molly Hale. Free kick, dealt with this one almost again at the far post, and it just went out 2-0. Canada would take it over Panama, the final. And a look at the full-time stats show you Canada's dominance. 23 shots to 3, 7 on target to 2, and a 75% to 25% possession advantage. Canada very workmanlike here in this one to win it 2-0. Now they'll enter the evening session in first place on 6 points, but that will still change here this evening. Puerto Rico takes on Nicaragua in less than an hour's time right here in Managua. So Puerto Rico could go back top of the table by the evening's end based on goal differential should they win. But for now, it's Canada in the driver's seat. Stick with us. About an hour from now, less actually, 45 minutes from now, you'll have action between Nicaragua and Puerto Rico here in Group B of the 2025 Concacaf Women's Under-17 World Cup Qualifiers.